All right. I really hope my camera makes it through this. I got a new camera not too long ago. I guess this thing eats batteries, so I apologize if it just goes out, but we'll try to make this work. This is the second round of the farm business journey. Last time we left off basically, I don't know, 2 years into practice. So we were still in our first small office. Um, so across the road, literally out that window over there. Maybe I'll take a tour of that to show you guys one time. I'll walk over there and just kind of show you where we came from. Less than 1,200 square feet. We're in 3,000 square feet now, looking to move into over 7,000 square feet, build a gym, all this fun stuff. What I want to go over today is a bit of, I talked about marketing last time. That tends to be a big question of like, what'd you do? What have you done? What do you still do? And then we can get into, some of the other nuts and bolts later. But I thought this would be a fun time for me, to go down memory lane, but kind of show you what we did, some of the out of the box thinking stuff that we did. So let's first of all, look at these little babies. Um, this is our first office. So we set up ourselves. So we were announcing a lot of stuff before we ever got in there. Like I said last time, we worked a lot of events before we even had an office. So here I can show you some evidence that I had this banner made. A lot of things changed. I thought cultivating champions was cool because it's a farm, right? Also, our name no longer uses medicine because the state board told us we could not have medicine in our name, even though it's called chiropractic medicine and the state board rules. So just kind of interesting stuff. We had no office. We went up, set up a tent. I'd run a couple trail races by this point. Wasn't really into it that big. But we started getting in front of a lot of people. And, this was the first office location, which is across the road over there. But yeah, we started doing some stuff. So we started moving in. We did all the work ourselves beyond the initial construction. Started getting stuff set up. This was before we were even open. Here we're building our office out. I'm just kind of showing you guys. I think it's kind of fun to see where we came from. Pretty modest, right? There wasn't a whole lot of stuff in here. Bare bones, right? We had a couple kettlebells, super old school foam rollers. I don't know what that's plugged in down there. A front desk that my dad made from a barn on our property. That's the whole office. Where I'm standing by the front door, there's the back of the office. This is not a big space. There were three treatment rooms. There was a little hall closet with a microwave and stuff, a bathroom in the back, and then this was Sloan and I's office back here. So that was it. So anyways, we kept working these races. So here we out at Oak Mountain, working on people, recovery, continue just working our asses off, right? Here we're at Lake Martin. This is a terrible time. It was super cold, just all sorts of stuff. Just, getting in front of people, maybe not great marketing, but we did work on some people. We got some new patients out of it. We kept going. So let's fast forward. So now I start getting involved, right? And I took it upon myself to say, hey, I want to go run some of these races instead of just working them. And I think that if I can go run a race like this and not only run it, but do really well, people have to kind of be like, well, who's this guy wearing a farm shirt that goes up there and gets a medal? So that was kind of my motivation. Again, like I said last time, not everybody can go out and win a race. Not everybody wants to go out and win a race. Maybe that's, being a little egotistical, but it worked for me as far as like kind of establishing almost like expertise, which doesn't mean you know jack shit about treating running injuries or injuries in general just because you win, but it may show that like maybe this guy's knows something about training. He tends not to get injured, like things like that. So I think it played out. So lots of races, right? Lots of events. We never paid for an event, right? The first event we paid for, I'll have to fast forward until probably like 3 years ago. But then we started really getting into the social media game, which now social media, we're talking to 8 years ago at this point, was way different. So we started doing a lot of giveaways, right? Which obviously is inundated now with giveaways. But we also started doing something pretty crazy at this point. We added athlete ambassadors. So Zach was one of our athlete ambassadors, and so was Sunny, and in particular her husband. We said, hey, what if we give you a kit, right? Some swag. But what if we also do some cool stuff, which seems crazy if you're starting out a practice. Say you're going to spend money on your wife. I didn't get to go, sadly, but she went to the Bryce Canyon 100 with two of our runners and documented the whole trip, right? And had a fantastic trip by herself. But basically, we wanted to stand behind people that were doing cool stuff and say, we're not just about getting injuries better. We're really wanting people to go out and, like Moshe Feldenkrais would say, is health is somebody that can accomplish their dreams, or their health isn't standing in the way of accomplishing their dreams. And I mean, we started doing this with athletes, and then those athletes became advocates of ours. And I mean, just some more fun pictures of our two runners that she went out there with, and Sloan doing some work on the plane to one of the runners. But this is never more true than our office. That some small steps in the, what is it? Sometimes the smallest step in the right direction ends up being the biggest step of your life. Tiptoe if you must, but take this step. I didn't know if any of this stuff would work, right? Some other companies, like companies way bigger than us, were doing all this like brand ambassador stuff. And I was like, can't hurt, got to try it. And we set parameters of how much we were going to spend. And we had meetings with these people and kind of what was expected from them. We had to let people go because they wouldn't hold up expectations. But yeah, we just started doing that. You have a lot of time when you're first getting into it. So I started submitting articles. I was lucky enough to have articles in some bigger publications like Trail Runner Magazine, and some local stuff as well, and just kept writing and kept, doing all sorts of stuff that, I don't know, put me in the public eye, both locally and, nationally, internationally. You wouldn't find us at home many weekends in the first 2 years because it didn't matter what the event was, race, whatever, tennis event, we would go out and just be working our ass off, man. And that's what you got to do. And here's something else interesting. And this sounds completely silly, but these are pictures that we're going through here now of, I had the clue to go around to local businesses and create a scavenger hunt where I would run out like super early the morning of and put these clues out and have little mini prizes. And then all of those miniature clues and prizes led up to this big prize. You want to talk about getting a community involved. I had more people going out and looking for these things. I think this lasted, 4 weeks, and we had a grand prize of $250. So I'd put these prizes in all of these, standard process donated. And I think we have some of our sponsors listed on here. I think maybe I'm going backwards. Sorry. So gosh, let me back out of here. I'll show you some other stuff. So yeah, we just had all these clues, and obviously this is Sloan's handwriting. It's much better than mine. But like, local companies, Fleet Feet, donated, and it established relationships. So I had to go in and meet the owner of Fleet Feet and say, hey, would you mind donating? What are you doing? And then Alabama Outdoors. So we put all these people together, and they're like, man, these people are kind of doing some cool stuff. It also, people love free shit. So, look at all these. This is back when we had like 300 followers. People are blowing us up. Like, what's going on today? Can I go look for this stuff? Started teaching classes at the local YMCA, right? And then they're promoting stuff for us. Let's go forward here. So we kept, this lasted a couple weeks with the scavenger hunt all the way to the end. And I would put up like, little picture clues of where stuff was. But the last one I sunk on a cinder block in a dry bag that was donated by our local outdoor store with the money and everything in it, which Sloan thought was crazy that I sunk $250, but I was pretty confident in that dry bag. So yeah, did a lot of off the wall stuff, right? We, here was one of our other winners for that. Actually Jake, I got the grand prize. So there's that $250 right there. Man, I'm looking pretty young and fly there. I don't know about fly, but anyways, one of our other athlete ambassadors, Olivia Fuso, ran her first 100 miler, and then she's self-promoting for us. So we had a lot of people advertising for us. Now, we also got very lucky. So here's a story that I think wildly changed our path. And you may say, well, that's dumb luck. I don't, you've always heard the thing that hard work meets preparation meets opportunity or something like that. And there's no luck. So many of you may know who Mark Blackburn is. He's one of the lead instructors, the lead golf instructor for Titleist Performance Institute. I didn't know that 6 months before we moved to Birmingham, that Mark moved to Birmingham from his previous golf pro job up in Guntersville, Alabama. And Bridget, our front office manager, gets a call one day and she goes, hey, there's a British guy on the phone and he says he needs help with his rib. Like, do you want to see him today? Sounds like he's hurting pretty bad. I was like, I'll take anybody, right? I'm not super busy. So this guy comes in, I have no clue who he is. And at this point in my life, I'm also very obsessed with golf, and I still don't even know who he is because Mark was up and coming at this time. So I he comes in and he's, talking like a little Brit. No, he kind of sounds like he's Australian. It's like Southern accent mixed with a little bit of like London-y. But he comes in, he's like, I hurt my, something around my rib cage throwing a golf club like a frisbee for a magazine shoot. And we get to talking. He's been golf coach. Lo and behold, he's an instructor for TPI. I have massive success with his injury, right? So he's impressed. So I get a call, I think 2 days later, and he says, what do you think about becoming the medical staff for the performance center that I'm building, right down the street from your office at a big golf course? And then I'll send you and Sloan to all the TPI courses for free, and you'll just become my medical staff. Cool. Yeah, I'm game. Now, I was prepped, right? Like I had the skills at hand, even though I think I was terrible at musculoskeletal medicine at this point, just out of school, but enough to impress somebody that then had a lot of connections, a lot of feelers that then got us involved with a lot of like big players in our field. And I mean, this was like right out of school, right? This is, well, let me look at the date on this. So this is October 25th, 2014. So at this point, we're 7 months into practice. And then we start going to like the World Golf Fitness Summit and meeting with all these, just people that I admire. Another story of like hitting a home run. Sloan meets a guy in our community named Mike Jesdemer that has transverse myelitis, which is not something that's super easy to treat. She helps him out massively. She becomes a board member for the Transverse Myelitis Foundation, has meetings at the UAB Neuro Rehab Center like every few weeks, becomes another community pillar in that fashion. We're writing blog articles. This is still one today, Enable to Spine You're Out of Your Mind, which good job, Sloan, on that one for naming it. But like this still gets like used, like picked up by other people sometimes. So it's just kind of an evergreen article. So I'm just trying to show you, we did a lot of shit, right? We started to work in CrossFit events. Sloan started getting very big into CrossFit, became pretty competitive. That also helped us. So I had the competitive running thing. She was a competitive CrossFit athlete. We started sponsoring bigger athletes, people that were playing pro sports at this point. So this is Zach Portamont. So it just keeps going like this, right? And something that I don't think people do enough of, I should do more of it even at this stage, is teach local clinics, right? Just teach a hour-long clinic at your place or someplace else on what you want people to know you specialize in, right? Or just stuff that's should be general knowledge that's not. And do so much of that that you get sick of it. And people, if you're sick of it, that means that somebody is probably going to start picking up that you're, basically picking up what you're putting down. But like, you have to do so much. Like I said last time, you need to market so much you feel like you're alienating people. I know that sounds weird, but eventually you back that down, right? But you just have to be like all over it. You're always in people's face. And I want to mention again that when we sponsored things like this, we never paid for this stuff. We never paid for an event until about 3 years ago. It was the very first time that we ever paid. We gave money to charity and things like that, but we never paid for events. Teaching more courses, right? Mobility seminars, whatever it was, CrossFit gyms, all this stuff. Oh, let's see what else we did. Well, then we start moving forward. So now, you guys want to see a baby Alex Coleman? Look at this guy. Let's see if this is going to come up. There's Alex doing some baby get-ups. Look at him, man. Yeah, so he's a stud way back when. He's been doing DNS before you guys even heard of it. Then we get lucky enough to move across the street into this brand new building. So this is our home, right? So we move into this place. We have a strength conditioning coach that joins us at this point. We got a lot more space, got a lot more fun tools. It's just, we start to catalyze reactions again, just because we started small, used our money smart, right? And then stuff just keeps growing, right? We get invited to do stuff that I never thought we would have. Get invited to Rockstock like for free and stuff like that. Like just very cool stuff, right? That wouldn't have happened again had not like hard work met preparation. I need to figure out what that is instead of just keep saying it. So let's keep moving forward here. So now is about the time. So I'm trying to see when I started posting. Maybe I wasn't sharing it. I had already started a podcast by this point for sure. So very early on, because at this point we had, so this is 2017. Oh yeah, I done multiple podcasts, but I guess I wasn't big on posting on social media, which was dumb. But had done a podcast during this time. I also want to point out that like I'm a avid trier of things. So like I created a thing called Peak Health that I thought would be a health consulting company for people. Didn't play out. Nobody bought into it. I spent a lot of time. Nothing happened. I'm always trying stuff, right? And sometimes they fail, sometimes they don't. But you got to keep going after stuff. Now, if you want to be, I just picked up for the first time the book Range by Epstein. That's kind of what that book's talking about, right? Not just trying stuff, but like being an all-encompassing, well-rounded person with multiple skill levels that then you bring into one realm that then makes you the specialist in that realm, because nobody's brought all those skills into that thing. You got to keep like adding your personality, your flair, your expertise to things. So again, moving forward in time, I'm going to just pull this up because maybe you haven't went this far back. I think this is a good point to make. There's too much stuff out there. Make sure it's worth something when you put out content-driven marketing. Oh, let's see if there's anything else interesting. Yeah, so second round of the podcast started coming out about this time. Now, let me talk about some hiring stuff at this point, because it's bringing up, just some memories of stuff that I need to talk about. So I said at this point, hey, what was this, 2018? I said, I want to start really differentiating myself of like as an educational lead, somebody to go to for knowledge, things like that. And I said, I want to hire an assistant to help build. At this point, Sloan came up with a company called Gymnast Fix, which was supposed to be kind of like the movement fix, things like that for gymnastics, which we're still working on that. And I said, we can hire a person to do that, help me with my podcast and, all this digital marketing stuff. We hired somebody, put her on salary. Terrible move. So we didn't understand what motivated her. We didn't realize that putting her on salary and then giving her projects and putting her in an office basically meant that she would sit there and earn money and not do our work. And she was a creative person and was doing her own work on our time. That's not her fault. That's our fault for not knowing that we shouldn't have put her on salary because of how she's motivated. She's not really motivated by money, right? She's motivated by creativity and output and things like that. Knowing that she needed to be in a social environment, not in an office by herself, right? That's why we have all our doctors in the same office now. So we learned a lot, even though I spent a shitload of money learning that lesson. So again, if I can save you from making mistakes, is don't ever start somebody out unless it's just like, you just know you got a stud. I don't care if I'm talking doctor, I'm talking front office staff. Don't ever start somebody out on salary, because you don't know how that person operates. Now, when I say never, again, like you may find a diamond in the rough, known somebody forever, whatever it is. But we have one salaried worker in this office now, and that's Bridget. Everybody else is either independent contractor or hourly. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. What else we got moving forward? Now we start hosting classes at the clinic, which are fantastic money makers. I think everybody realizes that. Now you have to have the space to be able to do things like that. But I mean, you can easily, now I shouldn't say easily, you got to market, you got to get people there. If you're near a school, it's 10 times easier than being in Birmingham. You can easily bring in an extra $50K in your practice each year just doing continuing education classes. That's profit for sure. At this time, what else we got going? You want to always have some other people in your community supporting you, posting about you. That's good play. That's kind of PR versus marketing. I did start going gung-ho. I didn't realize how much you have to apply to speak, rather than I thought people would tap me to speak. That's not how it worked. But around this time, so this is 2018, I said, I'm going all in. I'm going to start applying to everything to speak. I want to go out and, say some things that I think are important. And that opened up a lot of doors for me, but it took a lot of like uncomfortable scenarios of like, you have to go apply. You have to put yourself out there. You have to realize you're going to get told no a lot. But it opened up a ton of opportunities. Moving forward, just kind of showing you our marketing plan, because it's me going through this. So here's the first event that we ever paid for. So this is 2018. So yeah, this is almost 4 years ago. So I was right, 3 years ago at this point. So this is the Magic City Half Marathon here in town, and we hired. So this is our massage therapist Lee right here, but we hired one of her friends, which is another massage therapist, to work the day with us because we saw almost 600 runners. Now I think we paid $1,000 or $1,200 or something like that. And you can see somebody commented, "Thanks for the quick rehab and professional connection." There was I don't, we tracked this. I mean, this is 3 years ago. I don't think we had more than like 2 new patients off this. So whatever it was, let's say $1,000, 600 people seen, which was a shitload of work. We had a massage therapist that we paid per hour, and we saw 2 people. Now, not every race is like that, but if I can go work a race of 300 people, it shrinks down the crowd. It allows me to have more one-on-one time. You just got to be really, especially nowadays, because everything's kind of diluted. There may be a couple PTs or another chiro to race. Like you got to kind of like pick your niche and work within that niche, and not over dilute like through just paying money. I don't think there's a lot of room to pay money. If you have questions on how to negotiate that stuff, let me know. But like, yeah. Here's something I do want to talk about. I know this is later in the game. So I built our website, and this is showing when I redid. Actually, I think I'm showing a supplements catalog here. But anyways, I pegged on this because it shows Birmingham sports chiropractic. It made me think about something. So when I built our website, I didn't know what I was doing at all. I actually built it when we were still in school. I built it on Wix, and I eventually transferred to Squarespace. Anyways, the SEO game is way different now than it was back then. It was still hard to understand back then, but we were playing the game of basically like chiropractic in Birmingham, Chelsea, Alabama, where we're at. Sports chiropractic, we've always been really good. But we used to like rank really high, and then I started to realize like, oh my God, we're getting beat. Like everybody is saying they do sports chiropractic, right? Everybody says they do sports injury or rehab, even though they don't. And there's, I find issue with that. But here's my advice. If I had to go back, I think I would still build the website because I do a lot of content stuff. So I wanted to know how the website operates. If I was going to spend money marketing on something, I would 100% spend money on an SEO specialist, especially nowadays. But the thing is, you have to pay them monthly because it changes constantly. And SEO used to be very driven by video. So YouTube got us a lot. Used to be driven by, which it still kind of is, like blogs. So content or metadata on your photos and written material on your website. But now it's a whole game of like specifically how you word stuff, keywords, and then putting those keywords into keyword banks within an SEO generator. So there's just a lot of stuff that like, I don't want to have to keep up with that at this point. I'm telling you right now, I don't pay anybody. I've sussed out a couple people. I've worked with a couple people. Nobody's been awesome and been able to like show us that anything's great. But at this point in our career, we don't need the website to generate a ton of stuff. It does it based on the content. But starting out nowadays, you're not going to have a content website drive SEO into a practice. It's just not how it's going to work unless you're writing a 300 word blog like 3 times a week. It's just not going to happen. And doing YouTube, which YouTube used to be king, right? You Googled something, a video came up. That's not really how it works anymore. Everybody knows you have to get Google reviews. We've used everything from Review Wave. We're now using the Jane app instead of ChiroTouch. We can talk about that if you want at some point. So there's some automatic review grabs, but this was 120. We're up to like 200 something now. Like you have to have those. Those used to be more important for SEO, still important. Reviews are just important overall for people to look at. Keep moving through here. We're getting more, modern day. Always trying to do stuff in the community. This is a little local podcast that I was on, things like that. What else? We've had, like I said, different employees in here. I'm looking through some people that are no longer with us. Learned big lessons there. We've, at certain points we had a functional herbalist in our office. No bad blood there. Just she's doing her own business now. Didn't work out long term. What else? And now we see Dr. Daniel joining us at a race. This was, I think, Sloan. Yeah, this was right before we had Maddox. It's 3 days before Maddox was born. So getting out there and still working events, right? This is just last year. So Still got to get out there. We honestly need to do it more. As you get busy, it does get harder to do this stuff, but you just have to kind of still be in people's faces even once you feel like you're established. Maybe more so because you can like really less rest on your laurels. Oh, what else we got? I mean, to be honest with you, YouTube has been kind of a boon for us, both for internal marketing for the farm, but also now that I'm doing more things online, virtual consults. There's some things that won't happen nowadays that did happen for me just based on the time that I got into it. What else? Yeah, just kind of cruising through here. We're getting up to some modern day stuff now. Um, One big thing from like a content marketing standpoint, you may know this. If you don't, it is pretty important that um, showing people what happens in your clinic, right? Like normal stuff. I think that's one of the big reasons, honestly, the exercise videos are so big. Besides the exercise, it's like in our clinic and it's us doing it, showing people. But even like day to day stuff, like drawing the prize in your clinic for some giveaway like this, like you just kind of have to show people what's happening because that's like people that do a vlog, that's why people like it because they think they're getting a view into somebody's personal life. If you can show them the personal window into your clinic, that's a win rather than these like only show you an example of what isn't going to play well in my opinion. The pre-built chiropractic Canva doesn't have any personality. It's just something that was made like this. Like this is, I love our health coach, but like this general picture has a great message behind it, but it's not showing what she's doing. And I'm just trying to give you a little insight that uh yeah, people want to know what you're doing. People are weird. They feel like they know you through social media even though they don't, and the more you can let them into that little bubble, better off you're going to be. We've kind of skipped, yeah, all the way back. Now I'm going to be honest, digging through this farm Instagram channel, like I didn't use this a lot. Like I was the one that managed this. Sloan used to help a little bit more. I mean, now we're in our new office. Here's the full staff, our latest extern. So we've grown quite a bit over the years. But all that to be said, stop sharing this. Just going through kind of the marketing journey, looking at social media, because that's kind of like a log of what we've done, right? And there were some interesting things that I forgot that we did. Like we used to do a radio show, a live radio show that's on a radio station. We did ads with them at one point. We didn't get any play off that. So that was an advertising thing that we paid for. Don't recommend that, honestly. Everything you do once you want to be involved. So if I was doing radio, I want to be on the radio, right? If I'm like Sloan went on TV for being part of that transverse myelitis board, like she was on TV. Like you don't want to pay for a spot, right? Traditional advertising. I don't know if anybody's listened to the Kevin Christie podcast on Gestalt, talking about, Brett actually brings it up that the difference between PR and advertising. That what we're trying to do, being small business owners, is really PR, public relations, that we want people to know who we are, and then we want them to talk about us. We don't necessarily want to run like a come get adjusted in an x-ray for $25. Like that's advertising, right? That's a campaign. Now giveaways, things like that, that's more advertising ish, but still make it kind of personal. Like we're running small businesses, you have to have that. Like I don't have to, because maybe you eventually grow big enough where it's a little more hands off, but like people want that personal touch, that kind of like they're in the fold. The last thing from a digital perspective, it all hit on that I think I failed at, that actually has helped us a lot, and I need to do it more. It's just time based. Is like our website that I built is through Squarespace, which has a fantastic newsletter, built-in process, and via our patient base. I mean, I don't know how many we've seen. I guess I could count. I mean, well north of 15,000 patients total. But we have a ton of emails, and I used to do either one bi-monthly or monthly newsletter called the Farmer's Almanac. Just easy stuff. We do some giveaways, all that stuff. But people loved it, and it's not that hard. It just kind of fell off of it. But that's a huge deal, and the recommended frequency is about twice a month, right? Once a week, or once a week's better, twice a month. Because even if people unsubscribe because you're hitting them more often, the people that stick with you are the people that you want in your office. Those are going to be the diehards, right? Those raving fans. So this is kind of my like attempt at like, what did the farm do from a digital marketing and marketing standpoint that was logged digitally? standpoint. And yeah, it's, I built a website learning, you know, a lot of people be like, oh, I'm going to pay somebody to build my website. There's no way I'm paying anybody nowadays because it is so easy and so cheap to do it on your own. And I think you should understand how stuff works because, again, Kevin Kersey brought this up, which I thought was a great concept, that you want to build your digital marketing on owned land versus rented land. And rented land is social media, owned land is a website. Build it around that hub, have a lot of info on it, good info, make it personal, make it specific to your niche or specialty, and then go from there. And you're going to have good success. Don't pay for events unless you absolutely just think it's a home run. Negotiate your add-on value to that event, that you're adding injury prevention, recovery services, XYZ, and get your ass out there and get in front of people until you're sick of doing that, and let them know that you're the expert in your area. And like I said, you want to be the best in your city, the best in your state, the best in the country, and then eventually the best in the world. And the only way to do that is start shaking one hand at a time. So hope you guys got something out of that. Let me know if you have questions specifically on like digital marketing stuff. I'm not saying we're the best in the world by any means. I mean, let's scroll up here and just look. Farm only has 1,800 followers. Like I said, we could do way more through this. We even hired somebody at one point. Like, let's look at this. We had, she was a patient of ours. She was, at the time she was in high school, maybe early college, but she would do these little like update videos for us where she shot clips throughout the day. Trying to back up here to find one. So just another idea. So she came in for about an hour, 1 hour a week, and shot video. Man, I can't even find these. She wasn't in here that long, if you can't tell. I just didn't think it was a huge benefit. And honestly, she didn't have an awesome creative flair. Again, you got to learn this stuff. Anyway, she would do these little like check-ins and stuff. So they were great. But if you have questions on I think we did good, things you have questions on yourself, where should you, put your energy, things like that. I mean, it does matter. So just let me know what you got or what you need to know. And I will see you guys after Thanksgiving.